Captain Aaron Drake stood silently as the massive crystal gates of the Valari Palace opened before him. The walls glittered like diamonds, shaped from rare minerals that shimmered under the twin suns of Yalari Prime. He had seen alien worlds before, but nothing like this. He adjusted his Earth Fleet uniform. Polished black boots, silver rank pin, calm face. Inside, though, he was uneasy. This was not a war mission. It was something harder. Diplomacy. The Valari people were unlike any species humans had met. Tall, elegant, their bodies looked like moving statues carved from glass and light. Their voices rang like wind chimes. Their eyes glowed softly, like stars trapped in crystal, and ruling them all was Queen Seraline, one of the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. She had kept her world safe through wisdom and strength, and now she wanted to build a stronger alliance with Earth. Aaron had been sent to represent humanity. Smart, brave, and known for staying calm even in danger, he was the perfect choice. But no one warned him about the Queen's daughter. The grand hall was filled with thousands of Valari nobles. Their clothes shined with soft colors. Music floated in the air, light and strange. Aaron stepped forward as Queen Seraline raised her hand. "Welcome, Captain Aaron Drake." Her voice echoed like a soft bell. "Earth and Valari meet not as strangers, but as future allies." He bowed politely. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Earth is honored." She nodded, then motioned to her side. "This," she said, "is Princess Thalira, my only daughter. She will assist you during your stay." Aaron turned, and for a second he forgot how to speak. Thalira stood tall, graceful, with silver-blue skin that caught the light like water. Her long hair flowed like liquid glass. Her eyes, bright violet, met his calmly. There was no pride in them, only curiosity. He bowed again. "It's an honor." "May your visit bring peace and understanding," she said with a soft smile. Over the next few days, Aaron learned more about the Valari people. Their technology was advanced. Their society was built on harmony. They loved art, science, and balance. Princess Thalira often walked beside him. She spoke gently, asked questions, and listened with interest. She showed him the gardens that grew in the air, the libraries carved into floating crystals, and the places where stars were studied. She even laughed at his dry human jokes, but Aaron always kept a respectful distance. He was friendly, polite, but never flirted. Never lingered too long. Never let his feelings show, even when her presence stirred something deep inside him. The court began to whisper. "Why is the human so cold? Does he not find the princess beautiful? Is this how Earthmen behave?" The queen noticed, her daughter's quiet eyes and thoughtful silence. She saw the way Thalira looked at the human when he wasn't watching. One evening, she stood on her balcony and spoke to her royal guard. "The human does not love my daughter," she said, puzzled, "and I do not understand why." The guard, a loyal soldier made of sapphire plates, replied, "Shall I confront him, Your Majesty?" The queen raised a hand. "No, I shall ask him myself." Aaron was invited to the royal gardens the next day. The queen stood alone near a pool that glowed with soft light. Flowers made of living crystal bloomed around her. Aaron bowed, surprised by the private meeting. "You asked to see me, Your Majesty?" "Yes," she said, eyes sharp. "You have shown respect, Captain Drake. You have been honest and wise, but I see something I do not understand." He stood silently, waiting. "Why?" she asked. "Do you not love my daughter?" Aaron blinked. The question hit him like a sudden wind. Of all things, he had not expected this. Your Majesty, I didn't think she is kind to you. She smiles. She listens. Yet you stay distant. Do you find her unworthy?" "No," he said quickly, stepping forward. She's Your daughter is—" He looked away for a moment, gathering the words. "She's too beautiful." The queen raised an eyebrow. "Too beautiful? That is a reason to hold back?" Aaron took a deep breath. "I'm just a soldier. I've seen war, made hard choices. I've seen pain and ugliness. She's something perfect, something peaceful. I didn't want to ruin that by being close." Silence. Then the queen laughed, soft, amused, and surprised. "You think being human makes you unworthy?" He nodded. She stepped closer. "Captain, we do not measure worth by skin or title. We measure it by truth. And what you said was honest." He looked up. Her gaze was no longer sharp. It was thoughtful. "You did not insult her," she said. "You admired her from afar. I see now. You were not cold. You were afraid." "Yes," he said softly. "Then perhaps," the queen said, turning back, to the garden. "My daughter is not the only one learning something new." Behind a tall tree of glowing vines, Princess Thalira stood quietly. She had heard every word. A soft smile touched her lips, and in her violet eyes, a new kind of hope began to shine. After the quiet meeting in the glowing gardens, Aaron couldn't sleep. The queen's question repeated in his mind again and again. "Why don't you love my daughter?" He had answered truthfully. "She's too beautiful." But now he wondered if the queen thought less of him, or worse, if the princess had heard it and misunderstood. He stared at the ceiling of his guest chamber. It sparkled like a star field. He sighed and turned over. Sleep finally came, but it was full of strange dreams. Dreams of violet eyes watching him from across the stars. The next morning something had changed. Aaron walked into the royal chamber for the daily briefing. Usually he was met by advisors or Valari scholars. Today, Queen Saraline sat at the head of the long table, her crystal crown catching the sunlight. To his surprise, she smiled. "Captain Drake," she said, "I've decided to include you in more royal matters. You have shown honesty. I want to see what else you can show." Aaron bowed. "I will do my best, Your Majesty." Thalira entered the room a few moments later. Her face was calm, as always, but her eyes met Aaron's for a brief second, then quickly looked away. He didn't know what that meant. Over the next few days, Aaron was pulled deeper into the world of the Valari. He joined meetings about trade routes, technology exchanges, even planetary defense plans. His ideas were listened to. Some were even praised. He trained with the Queen's Guard, learning how the Valari used energy blades and light armor. In return, he taught them human close combat techniques. During these activities, Thalira was often nearby. She walked beside him through the crystal forests. She sat across from him at royal dinners. She spoke gently, but there was always something. Behind her voice now, a small silence. A quiet question left unspoken. Aaron wanted to talk about the Queen's question, about what he said. But how? He was a soldier, not a poet. He was brave in battle, but not with feelings. One evening, during a private tour of the floating gardens, Aaron and Thalira stood together on a glass platform high above the city. Below them, the lights of the capital glowed like jewels. "Your world," Aaron said softly, "is the most peaceful place I've ever seen." Thalira looked at him. "Peace comes from balance, but even here, we can feel lonely." He turned to her, surprised. "You? Lonely?" She nodded. "Many see me only as the princess, as a title, a future ruler, but not as myself." Aaron wanted to say something, anything, but his words felt heavy in his chest. She looked at him, her voice. "Quieter now, my mother told me what you said." Aaron froze. She told me that you said I was too beautiful. He looked down. Yes, I did. Why would beauty make you afraid? Aaron took a slow breath. Because beauty like yours doesn't seem real. It's like standing too close to a flame. You're afraid you'll ruin it or be burned by it. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she stepped closer. Captain, she said softly, if you truly believe that, then let me show you something. She reached up and removed her glowing headpiece. Her hair, usually arranged with care, now flowed freely around her shoulders. She placed her hands on the edges of her shimmering royal robe and removed it. Underneath, she wore simple clothes, gray and soft. Not shining, not royal, just real. I am not just a princess, she said. I laugh, I cry, I make mistakes. I am not flawless. Aaron was stunned. For the first time, Thalira did not look like a shining statue of crystal. She looked like someone real, someone honest, someone close. I didn't know, he whispered. You only saw the outside, she said, but I wanted you to see the person inside. Aaron's voice shook. I see her now. She smiled. Not the perfect court smile, but a real, warm, quiet one. For the first time since he came to Yalari Prime, Aaron felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not confusion, but something else. Hope. The next day, Queen Saraline watched her daughter from the royal balcony. Thalira walked beside Aaron through the gardens, laughing quietly at something he said. The queen turned to her chief advisor. They are starting to see each other clearly now. The advisor nodded. Do you approve? The queen did not answer right away. Then slowly she said, Let the wind carry them. We shall see where they land. That night, during a formal royal banquet, a Valari noble named Lord Shirel stepped forward to speak. He was tall and proud with a voice like sharp metal. I must ask, Queen Saraline, he said loud enough for all to hear, why does the human walk beside the princess as if he is one of us? The hall went silent. The queen was about to respond, but Thalira stood up first. Because he has earned his place beside me. Shirel frowned. But he is not Velari. He is not of royal blood. Thalira raised her voice. He is kind, brave, and honest. That is worth more than titles. Aaron stood too. I did not ask for this honor, but I will protect it with my life. The queen stood now. That is enough. The matter is settled. Shirel bowed stiffly. As you command, your Majesty. The moment passed, but something had changed. The court now saw Aaron in a new light, not just as a guest, but as someone who might be something more. Later, after the banquet, Thalira and Aaron walked alone through the quiet halls. I'm sorry for what happened, she said. I'm not, he replied. It was the first time I felt like I belonged. She looked at him. You do, he smiled. And I'm not afraid anymore. She tilted her head. Not even of my beauty? He laughed gently. Still afraid, but now I want to face it. Thalira stepped closer. Then don't look at my crown, or my robe, or my shining skin. He looked into her eyes. Just look at me, and he did. The sun rose slowly over the crystal towers of Yalari Prime, casting soft rainbow colors through the palace windows. The day began like any other, but something in the air had changed. Captain Aaron Drake walked through the gardens beside Princess Thalira. His steps were more relaxed now. He smiled more. He no longer looked at her like she was something unreachable. And Thalira? She no longer hid behind perfect smiles. Her laughter was softer, her eyes warmer. She had dropped the mask of royalty when she was with him. The palace staff had noticed. The queen had noticed, and so had the nobles. In the weeks that followed, Aaron's duties increased. He was invited to council meetings, joined strategy sessions, and even sat beside Queen Saraline during a peace summit with the insectoid Dressari colonies. The Queen tested him. She gave him difficult problems to solve, asked for his thoughts during serious talks, and challenged his ideas during debates. She watched how he spoke, how he listened, and how he carried himself among the Valari people. Aaron never tried to impress her. He simply stayed honest. And slowly, the Queen began to trust him, not just as a soldier or a guest, but as someone who might one day stand beside her daughter. One afternoon, Thalira led Aaron to the Hall of Reflections, a sacred place where royal Valari meditated on truth and purpose. The walls were alive with floating crystal mirrors, showing not the face, but the spirit within. Thalira stopped in front of one. "I used to come here as a child," she said quietly, "to ask myself what kind of ruler I wanted to become." Aaron stood beside her. The mirror before them showed not their faces but swirling light, his a deep blue, hers a glowing silver. "What do you see now?" he asked. She looked at the light. "I see someone I want to rule beside." He turned to her, eyes wide. "You mean?" She looked straight into his eyes. "Aaron, you once said I was too beautiful, but beauty fades. What doesn't fade is loyalty, courage, truth." He took a step closer. "Thalira, I choose you," she said simply. And just like that, the weight between them melted away. He didn't reply with a long speech. Instead, he gently took her hand. "I choose you too." Of course, not everyone was happy. Lord Shirrell, the same noble who had insulted Aaron earlier, began to speak against him in the royal council. "He is still an outsider," Shirrell said to the Queen. "His heart belongs to Earth, not to Valari. He may turn away when we need him most." Queen Saraline stayed silent for a time, then said, "I will judge him not by his blood, but by his actions." And soon, the chance to prove himself came. Far beyond the peaceful skies of Yalari Prime, a warning came from the edge of the system. A beacon sent out a distress signal. Under attack. Graxan marauders approaching. Request aid immediately. The Graxan marauders were feared across the galaxy. Pirates, mercenaries, and destroyers. They had no home, no code, and no mercy. Their ships were fast and deadly. They burned colonies and stole technology. The Valari fleet was strong, but it had been weakened. Much of it was away on peace missions in other systems. Queen Saraline stood in the war chamber, eyes calm but serious. "We must defend our outposts. If we show weakness now, they will strike again." "I'll lead the defense," Aaron said without hesitation. The Queen turned to him. "You are not Valari, Captain. You owe us nothing." "I gave my word," he said. "And I won't let Thalira's people suffer." Thalira stepped forward. "I will go with him." The entire room gasped. "No," the Queen said firmly. "You are the heir to this world." "That's why I must go," Thalira replied. "My people need to see that I will fight for them." For a long moment, the Queen looked at her daughter. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Then you go with my blessing. But return with your honor." The battle began near Outpost Valen, a mining base floating near the rings of a gas giant. The Graxan fleet had already disabled the local defense systems and begun boarding the station. Aaron commanded the combined Earth-Valari strike force. Human pilots flew beside glowing Valari ships, their weapons synced, their targets shared. He fought in the front line, leading an elite team into the outpost's corridors. Energy blasts echoed through the metal halls. Smoke filled the air. Screams, shouts, and roars of battle surrounded them, and beside him, fighting with grace and fury, was Princess Thalira. She wielded a crystal spear that shimmered with electric light. Every move was precise, every strike was fast, but even she wasn't untouchable. A Graxan warrior lunged from the shadows, too fast, too close. Aaron saw it. Without thinking, he dove in front of her, taking the blow meant for her. The sharp blade sliced into his side. Thalira cried out, blasting the attacker with her spear. She dropped beside Aaron, blood staining her hands. "Why?" she whispered, tears in her eyes. "I told you," Aaron said through pain. "I choose you." The battle was won. The Graxen were driven back. The outpost was saved, but Aaron was badly wounded. He was flown back to Yalari Prime for healing. He drifted in and out of sleep, his body weak but alive. When he opened his eyes, he saw her sitting beside him. Thalira. No crown. No royal robe. Just her. "You saved me," she whispered. He gave a small smile. "Couldn't let someone that beautiful die before our first dance." She laughed softly, her hand holding his tightly. Then the doors opened, and Queen Saraline entered. She looked at her daughter, then at Aaron. Then she spoke. "My daughter is strong." She fought bravely. "But it was you who took the wound for her." Aaron sat up slowly. "I did what anyone would do." "No," the Queen said, stepping closer. "Most would hesitate. You did not." She stood tall. "I once asked you why you did not love my daughter. Now I see the answer was never about fear. It was about respect." She looked to Thalira. "And you? Do you still choose him?" Thalira nodded. "Yes." The Queen gave a long, deep breath. Then she said softly, "Then I give you both my blessing." And with those words, the walls between species, between royal and soldier, between fear and love, finally disappeared. The peaceful days on Yalari Prime had returned, but the threat from the stars was never far away. The Graxen marauders had been pushed back from the outpost, but their hate was stronger than ever. Queen Saraline stood in the war chamber of her palace, her crystal fingers tapping on a smooth table that showed live images of the system's defense network. "The Graxen will return," she said quietly. "We cannot wait for them to strike again. We must prepare." Around the table, Valari generals and human officers sat, listening. Aaron Drake, though still recovering from his wounds, was present. His side still ached, but his spirit burned. Bright. "We need more than defense," Aaron said. "We must strike first, hit their supply lines, their bases, show them the cost of attacking Valari and Earth." The Queen regarded him silently, then she nodded slowly. "You will lead the strike." Aaron's heart beat faster. This was the test he had waited for. The chance to prove his loyalty not with words, but with action. The combined Earth-Valari fleet was unlike any force the galaxy had seen. Sleek Valari ships, shaped like crystal arrows, moved in perfect formation alongside Earth's heavy, rugged warships. Aaron's command ship, the Starlight, glowed with energy. Its human crew worked seamlessly with Valari engineers and pilots. As they entered the dark regions near the Graxen home system, the tension grew. "We have visual," said Captain Mira, Aaron's trusted human pilot. "Graxen fleet ahead. Weapons. Charged." Aaron stood on the bridge, his hands steady on the rail. "Prepare to engage," he ordered. The battle was fierce. Graxen ships fired deadly plasma beams and launched missile swarms. The Valari ships danced through the storm of fire, their crystal shields flashing bright. Human ships fired heavy lasers and railguns. Explosions lit the dark space like stars dying. Aaron's mind raced. He directed teams, coordinated attacks, and moved with calm purpose. Mid-battle, a Graxen destroyer broke through the line, aiming for the Starlight. Aaron's heart jumped. "Divert. Power to forward shields," he shouted. The shield flared just in time as the destroyer fired a massive plasma blast. The ship shook violently, but held. On the bridge, alarms blared. "Enemy boarding pods detected," a Valari officer called out. "Aaron didn't hesitate. Weapons teams, repel the boarders," he ordered. He grabbed his energy blade and moved to the rear corridor, ready to fight. The corridors of the Starlight were narrow and tense. Graxan warriors dropped from the boarding pods. Their armor was black and jagged. Their eyes burned with hatred. Aaron met them with a fierce cry, swinging his blade with skill. Behind him, Valari guards fought alongside humans. The battle was brutal and close. Amid the chaos, a familiar voice called out, "Captain!" Aaron turned. It was Thalira, dressed in light battle armor. She moved with deadly grace, her spear flashing blue light. "Stay close," she shouted. Together, they fought side by side. Suddenly, a Graxan warrior leapt at Thalira from the shadows. Aaron reacted instantly. He pushed her aside but was struck instead. The sharp blade cut his arm deeply. Pain exploded through him, but he held his ground. Thalira's eyes filled with tears as she blasted the attacker away. Aaron looked at her, blood staining his uniform. "I'm fine," he said, trying to smile. "You're hurt," she said fiercely. "I'm here," he replied. The boarding fight ended with Graxan retreat. The Starlight was damaged but still strong. Aaron's injury was serious, but not life-threatening. The battle won. The fleet returned to Yulari Prime. In the healing chamber, Aaron lay resting. Thalira sat by his side, holding his hand. Her glowing skin was soft in the dim light. "Why do you risk so much for me?" she asked. Aaron smiled weakly. "Because you're worth it." She squeezed his hand. "I never thought a human could care so deeply." He looked into her eyes. "We humans have many reasons to fight," he said. "But the strongest is for those we love." The healing chamber doors opened. Queen Saraline stepped inside, her face calm but proud. She looked at Aaron, then at Thalira. "You both have shown courage," she said. Aaron nodded. "I did what was needed." The queen smiled softly. "My daughter is lucky to have you." Thalira smiled back. "We are lucky to have him." The queen turned to Aaron. "You will stay here as honored guest and protector." Aaron bowed. "It is my honor." Later, as peace returned, Aaron and Thalira stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The stars shone bright. She leaned on his shoulder. "Do you still think I'm too beautiful?" He laughed gently. "Yes, but now it's not something I fear," she smiled. "Then what is it?" Aaron looked out at the stars. "It's something I cherish." Together they watched the galaxy, and they knew their journey was only just beginning. The days passed quietly after the battle. Yulari Prime slowly returned to peace. Flowers bloomed again in the floating gardens. Valari artists filled the city with music and light. Even the stars above seemed calmer now. But deep in the palace, a new kind of energy was growing. Not war, not fear, but something softer, something stronger. Captain Aaron Drake walked through the royal halls, fully healed now. He no longer felt like a stranger. Guards greeted him with nods. Servants bowed with respect. Even the high-ranking nobles now spoke to him with polite words, if not warmth. But none of that mattered as much as the way Princess Thalira looked at him now. Gone was the distance in her eyes. Gone was the quiet sadness. Now, when she looked at him, her violet eyes glowed with joy. One morning, Aaron stood on a high balcony, gazing at the twin suns rising over the city. He heard soft footsteps behind him. Thalira joined him, holding 2 crystal cups filled with a warm, glowing drink. "Valari tea," she said, smiling. "For the brave hero of 2 worlds." Aaron chuckled and took the cup. "You're the real hero." She sat beside him. "We fought together." He looked at her. "And we lived." She smiled. "That's more than many can say." For a moment they sat in silence, sipping tea and watching the sky. Then Thalira said, "My mother has made her decision." Aaron looked at her. "About what?" "She will allow me to leave the palace for a time, to visit Earth, to see your world." Aaron's eyebrows rose. "Really?" Thalira nodded. Yes, but not alone. His heart jumped. She wants me to go with you. She trusts you now, completely. Aaron felt something warm in his chest. Not pride, not duty, something gentler, something deeper. Hope. A grand gathering was held in the Unity Hall, a tall building shaped like a crystal flame. Valari citizens, Earth ambassadors, and leaders from other allied worlds arrived to witness it. Queen Saraline stood before the crowd. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Today we do not speak of war or treaties. Today we speak of trust, of a future shared by different worlds. She looked at her daughter. Princess Thalira will visit Earth, not as a symbol, but as a friend. Then she turned to Aaron. And Captain Aaron Drake, who has earned our respect and gratitude, will guide and protect her. The crowd clapped. Valari light chimes sang in harmony. Thalira looked at Aaron and whispered, "Are you ready?" Aaron smiled. "For anything." A few days later, their ship lifted from Yalari Prime. It was a small, sleek vessel, half Valari design, half Earth technology. Inside, it was calm, with soft lights and gentle sounds. Aaron sat at the controls. Thalira sat beside him. They watched. The stars stretched around them as the ship entered light speed. "Have you been to Earth before?" she asked. He shook his head. "I've been away for years, always on missions." She looked at him. "Then maybe you'll be a visitor too." He smiled. "I guess we'll explore together." When they arrived in Earth orbit, messages flooded the ship. News had spread. The Valari princess was visiting Earth. Governments, media, and scientists all wanted meetings. But Thalira said no to the formal events. She didn't want speeches or reporters. She wanted to see Aaron's Earth. So they landed, in a quiet part of the planet. A green valley with lakes and hills. The air was fresh. The wind carried the scent of trees. "This place is beautiful," she said. "It's called Lake Ilara," Aaron told her. "It was my favorite place before. I joined the fleet." She walked along the water's edge barefoot. No crystal towers, no glowing trees. But it feels alive. "It is," Aaron said. "Just like you." She looked at him and smiled. "And just like you." They stayed in a small home by the lake. Aaron cooked simple meals, Earth food. Thalira learned to make tea using real fire. They laughed when she burned the first pot. They walked under the stars at night. They watched animals drink from the lake. They shared stories, both happy and sad, and slowly, the space between them disappeared. One night, as fireflies danced around them, Thalira looked into Aaron's eyes. "Do you still see me as too beautiful?" she asked. Aaron reached out and gently held her hand. "No," he said. "I see you as something more." "What do you see?" "I see home." She didn't reply with words. Instead, she leaned forward and rested her head on his shoulder. And in that quiet moment, nothing else in the galaxy mattered. The visit lasted many days. Finally, a message came from the Valari Palace. It was time to return. As the ship prepared to lift, Aaron stood outside the little house. Thalira walked up beside him. "I don't want to leave," she said. "Then stay," he replied. She looked at him. "But duty calls." He nodded. "And I'll go with you, wherever that is." She smiled. "Then it won't feel like duty anymore." They boarded the ship together. Back on Yalari Prime, Queen Saraline greeted them warmly. She saw the change in her daughter. She saw the peace in Aaron's eyes. That night, she met privately with both of them. "I once asked you," the Queen said to Aaron, "why you didn't love my daughter. Your answer surprised me." "I was afraid," Aaron admitted. "I thought she was too perfect for someone like me." The Queen nodded. "Now what do you think?" Aaron looked at Thalira and smiled. "Now I know she's more than perfect. She's real. And that's even better." The Queen looked at her daughter. "And you, Thalira?" Is this still your choice? Thalira took Aaron's hand. It has always been my choice. The queen stepped forward and touched both their shoulders. Then go forward together, as partners, as equals. The next day, the royal court gathered, not for a wedding, not for a royal ceremony, but for something older, stronger, a bonding of trust, a Valari tradition where two hearts declare they walk the same path. Aaron and Thalira stood before the people. No crowns, no armor, just truth, and when they joined hands, light surrounded them. Not magic, not energy, just the light of two souls finally choosing each other. The crowd cheered, the stars above sparkled, and across the galaxy, the story spread. Human and an alien, two worlds, one path, together forever.